This is the 19th clutch game for you guys. Just what you see there down the stretch, and then specifically with the plays that B. Will made.
Yeah, I thought B. Will did a great job for us there in the fourth quarter. Down the stretch, getting stops, and then I thought just the pace to keep running. And then I thought B. Will's ability to, attack, get in the paint, and make plays. I thought it was a great pass to AD. He looked for himself for a layup. But I thought he was really good for us in that fourth quarter.
It was a tale of two halves. It seemed like Cooper had it going early on, and then AD scored 20 points in the second half. When you have two guys like that can complement each other, what does that do for your group?
Yeah, I think Cooper really was really good there in the first half. He was attacking, he got to the paint, and I thought he got us going offensively. And AD, I think, had 4 points, but I thought he picked it up there in the second half. And when one guy is going, you tend to, lean on him. And I thought we leaned on AD there in the second half, and the game became a little bit easier for us.
Anthony Davis there with 3 steals and 3 blocks. How impactful was he on the defensive end tonight?
Yeah, he's huge. As much as we look at him on the offensive end, defensively, we need him to be able to, block shots or come up with steals or change shots. And then the next step is being able to get that rebound. And I thought the group did a really good job. It's hard when you have that much time off and you're playing against each other. So I thought the group did a really good job tonight.
And you were saying during the training camp, Max Christie came in great shape. He's going to play a lot for us this year. What do you think has just led to him, I guess, being so consistent this year and having a really strong year?
Well, I think just his preparation. I think as we talked about this summer, he started right when the season was over. He got back in the lab and started working on his body and then also his game. And so you can see that carry over to this season. He has been consistent. We've asked him to start. We've asked him to come off the bench. And he's all about whatever is best for the team. And you can see that again tonight, shooting the ball and also driving the ball, getting the ball to the rim. He's been good. But I thought his defense was pretty good on Porter, too, when we asked him, because we got in foul trouble there, we asked him to guard Porter, who was going for them.
Great assist tonight. What was your thought on the ball movement?
Yeah, I thought it was great, especially, coming off a break. You can be a little sloppy, but I thought the group, 33 assists, the ball was moving, and we were looking for each other. We were making plays, not for ourselves, but for our teammate. I thought it was really good tonight.
Cooper Flagg seemed to get downhill really well. He had a game-high 8 assists. Just what do you think he was seeing out there?
Yeah, I think, again, he has the ability to do everything. And so 8 assists, no turnovers. I thought he was really good at being able to attack and make plays for his teammates, especially with the pace that we're playing at in the break. I think that it helps him because that's one of his strengths is being able to find guys.
I know for Ryan, it wasn't a game that we typically used to seeing from him. It seemed like he looked human tonight. What do you say a night like this?
Move on, get ready for Utah. Learn from this. Understanding their pressure bothered us a little bit. The Channel 5s bothered us a little bit. We had some turnovers in those kind of schemes. So we'll look at it and we'll practice to make sure that he gets better in those situations.
Speaking on the 6-day layoff, the team came out in their first game back, shoot 49% from the field. Just speak on how sharp they were tonight.
Yeah, I thought, again, this week was taken serious. I thought the attention to detail, the practice, the energy was at a high. And so a lot of carryover from this week, which is hard to do because, you could get bored at times. But I thought the group did a great job of understanding what we were asking them to do in practice, and they brought it, and I thought there was a lot of carryover. Just the extra pass, I thought we got a lot of great looks at threes. Even if we didn't miss, there were great looks, and so that was a big carryover from this past week. Thanks.
You started the game just really aggressive. Was that like an emphasis for you? Is that kind of just?
I actually felt tired, to be honest. I thought I was stiff and tired, but nah. It was good. I worked my way into it. Obviously, having a break, it's a little different. You get in such a flow of playing every day sometimes, every other day pretty much. So you get 6 days off, a little winded. Your first four's a little tough, but I thought we, worked our way into it well. And, just trying to be aggressive, no matter who it is in front of me. But, finding mismatches and just trying to go out there and make the reads and make the right play.
When you're getting to the rim, it seems like you're getting to the rim and finishing just as much with your left as you are with your right. How comfortable are you finishing with that offhand, and what does your growth there with that offhand look like this season?
Yeah, I think my left hand is something I've always been comfortable with. Just being comfortable going both ways since I was young. So using that to my advantage, going both ways, being effective in that can really open up the floor and, finding holes and gaps that you want to drive to. So I think it's just, part of the game is just making those reads.
Which one's your dominant hand?
Right hand.
I mean, like when you're driving it, like does your left feel like the dominant?
Yeah, I don't know. I would say I feel just as comfortable with left and right. Going either way, but I feel like people force me left sometimes. I feel like it's just a natural thing for right-handed players to get forced left. But yeah, I'm very comfortable going both ways for sure.
You had a sequence there in the first where you got the block on Daron Sharp and came down and got the layup. Obviously, just you mentioned that you was tired. How do you find the energy to kind of compete on both ends like that?
Yeah, just playing as hard as I can. That's something I pride myself on. Every day, and since I was young, just playing really, really hard and giving 100% of my effort and energy no matter what. That's something you can control, and so just doing that to the best of my ability and leaving it all out there.
Do you feel like AD was, I don't know, reading the game maybe and kind of feeling things out? He obviously was a willing passer in the first half, and then he kind of knew when to go.
Do I feel like he was?
Did you see that in him?
Yeah, I mean, he's just, he's one of the best players in his position of all time, and he knows the game, incredibly well, and he knows when to pick his spots, and he knows when to attack, and he knows when he's getting doubled, and he knows where everybody is on the court. So, I think whatever he's doing out there, he's just gotta be himself, keep it simple, and I trust he's gonna make the right play all the time. Whether that's killing somebody and scoring it, or finding an open teammate, but. He's been in this business for a long time, and I just trust he's gonna make the right plays, and I think that's what we've been seeing a lot of.
Before the game, Vince Carter was in here and actually he asked Coach Kidd a question. He asked about the growth and kind of throwing you into the fire a little bit with allowing you to play point guard at first. And Coach said that even though the numbers don't show it, he said that he thinks that's something that benefited you and then related it to your ability in the clutch. So overall, what did you think of that little short journey as a point guard? And do you think that it has helped lead to your growth thus far?
Yeah, for sure. I think it definitely helped, to grow, and I learned a lot in that short period of time. And start of the season with a lot of losses and a lot of tough games. I think I learned a lot, in general. But I think just with that, just being comfortable and understanding, is a big thing. I hadn't really played point guard before, but it's a lot different than any other position, and you have to be aware of a lot of other things, and it's just a lot of new stuff if you haven't done it before. So I think I learned a ton just about what it takes to lead a team as a point guard, and just to know how to get everybody organized and those sort of things. I think I learned a lot in that short period of time, so I think it was pretty good for me.
Dating back.
We heard from Naji right before you, and he was asked about the kind of player he is. How would you describe the kind of player he is on this team?
Naji, he's the knife. That's his nickname for a reason. he just does a little bit of everything. He's everywhere. He'll cut up the defense, cut off the drive. He's been shooting it better. This year he shot it really well for us, and been really confident. So I think when he just is out there, we're a better team. Just defensively, he brings that dog and has the ability to just shut guys out in certain nights and matchups. But he just does everything. He's just such a win player, and you just need those type of guys on your team that you can just plug in with anybody else out there, and he immediately elevates the game.
You had a career high of 8 assists tonight, I believe. What about the ball movement?
You said what?
Career high of 8 assists, or end game. Is that accurate?
I think that was my career high. 11. I think I had 11, right?
Okay.
Okay.
What about the ball movement tonight was working for you?
Yeah, I think we just got more comfortable as a team, just being organized, and I think Ryan coming along has helped us a lot with that, and B. Will, being more comfortable, just having those guys to run the show, but get us into our actions, and it leaves me just being able to make the reads and make the right plays and keep it really simple. So just finding open guys. They started to double late down the stretch, and I was maybe more scoring in the first half, had it going, and then finding guys in the second half. So just making the right plays all the time, I think, just leads to that, and guys are making shots. It feels good, and it helps out. So it's nice.
Coop, Max has shot the heck out of it this year. Just how aware are you, when he's spotting up, of like finding him specifically, just with how well he shot it?
Yeah, Max is up there. Him and Claire, my two guys that, I want to know where they're at pretty much all the time on the court. With your shooters like that, you want to know where they're at just at all times just to find them. I found Max one time today just trailing the play. He kind of got lost and, just found him for a nice trail three. Things like that when you can just find them and get them easy looks. Clay checked into the game pretty early, ran a little action for him, just get him a shot. When they could see one go in like that, it's so good for him to just get it going. And, we need those two guys shooting the ball and getting shots up for our team's success. So I think it's huge the way they've been shooting it.
Thank you.
Naji, what are you seeing from this group for you guys to win 5 out of the last 6, especially coming after a long layoff?
Just competing, playing as a team, playing basketball the right way. We're not perfect, but that sums up most of it. So just playing hard, playing for one another.
What were some of your impressions of how kind of Cooper had 18 of his 22 in the first half, and then AD had 20 of his 24 in the second?
It just shows we were a loaded team. Let alone any given night, any given half, it could be somebody's half on our team, and our job is to keep them going. And when we don't, when it's somebody else's turn, keep them flowing. Coop started us off pretty good, and AD finished it for us. So it's the luxury of having both of those guys. It's amazing.
Hey,
Seems
Naji.
like whether you start or come off the bench, seems like you kind of just role. I think you had 4 assists a night. Just describe your role on this team.
Like I told y'all, I'm just here for whatever they need, whether it's me to start the offense, hit an open shot, get a stop, whatever it may be. I'm here for my teammates, and tonight, they needed assist and just a little spark, so I feel like I gave that.
AD's words, definitely not mine. He said about your game, boring is successful. You're constantly putting up double digits and contributing to this team. So what about your game is so consistent, especially that mid-range jumper?
Just what I work on, what I'm comfortable with, what I know how to get to, and like A said, it's effective, but it may not be the best looking thing to somebody who's watching, but like we said, it's effective, and just try to be as boring as possible so I can get it. Never mind. I'm just trying to be boring though.
Naji, when you talk about the kind of player you are, not to get super reflective on you, but do you remember when you decided you wanted to be that kind of player? Because a lot of guys aren't, team first without having a big ego. They just want to, help the team win. A lot of guys aren't like that.
I'm undrafted, so the focus is not on me, and that's not a bad thing. I can still help the team. I just figured that out. A lot of young guys get caught up in just trying to do one thing, score, and feel like that's the only way to get on the floor. But I have a very unique skill set where I can do multiple things, and like you said, I figured out early that I just have to do the things that the players who aren't stars won't, and it's kept me on the floor to this point, and I just kept improving, and I still got some improvements to make, but yeah.
I was observing kind of your numbers earlier today and looking at your finishing around the rim within 5 feet, and your percentage down there was ahead of Gilgeous Alexander, Tyrese Maxey, Brunson, you name it, you're ahead of some of the stars. What makes you so effective down there in front, down by the rim, and what's kind of that preparation look like where it seems like almost every floater you get to is almost a bucket?
Like I said, it's just my game, what I'm comfortable with, something I've kind of been doing for a long time, and I just know how to get to it, and when I do, I feel like it's a very easy shot, very makeable shot for me, and something that I stick to. So I don't know, maybe the consistency is why the percentage is so high, but like I said, just something I'm comfortable with.
What do you think that says about your game and your work ethic that there's these guys who are multi-time All-Stars and you're in front of them in that way? What does that say about your game and your work ethic?
I think it shows that I just belong here. May not necessarily be better than those guys, but just to be in the class, regardless of what it is, just shows that I belong and that I will keep working and just keep improving. So, sky's the limit.
You talk Naji, coming into this game, you all have won 4 out of your last 5, and you all had the 6-day layoff. Just speak about how you all were able to come back and just pick up where you guys left off of.
It's our job, so we didn't really have an option. We don't want to lose. I feel like we've done enough losing up to this point in the season. So any game we go out there, try our hardest, play our best, and just get a W for our team. Have a good one.
83 blocks and 3 steals there tonight. Could you talk a little bit about your defensive impact there, especially in the first half? Your offense was a little bit slower, but then you took over the game in the second half. Just talk about your overall game, but specifically how your defense led your kind of offense tonight.
Yeah, I'm not a one-trick pony, so I can play both ends of the floor. So when teams are trying to switch in front and deny me the ball, I can make a effort and impact on the game on the defensive end, and that's what I just try to do in the first half. And then in the second half, just finding the rhythm, being patient throughout the game, and finding my spots. So that's it. I mean, obviously, 6 days off, you come back. That's like the toughest games, especially against a team. I mean, they've actually been playing well. I think 3 out of 4. Won their last 3 out of 4. So they've been playing really well. Michael Porter been, kind of like the head of the snake, and he played a good game tonight as well. So trying to make it tough for him, but I think as a collective, we did a good job on both ends of the floor.
Okay.
We talked about your game offensively in the second half. What did you see from Cooper get you guys started there in the first half?
Yeah, he was very aggressive, attacking the basket. I think him getting downhill, he's very tough to guard, obviously I think every night, they're going to try to put, their best wing defender on him, trying to be physical with him, but he does a good job of getting to his spots, and making the right read. So, he definitely, led the charge. And then once he started drawing so much attention, because he was getting to the basket early and scoring early, he was able to open up the floor for everyone else to kind of be aggressive.
Cup is kind of a new concept in the league, and you're on a win streak of 4 of your last 5, and then you get this break. Vibes seem really high today at morning shoot around. As a vet, is there anything that you kind of told the group as
You said the cup?
like the NBA Cup, like the time off that you got?
Oh, okay.
Is there anything as a vet that you kind of told guys like Ryan, Cooper about just first game back after your time off?
I don't think I ever, since the cup been.
It's only been since 2023.
I don't think I had a break.
We're just coming
before.
back off of momentum.
No, I didn't tell him anything. We know what's at stake for us, and the rhythm that we've been in, and we just want to kind of keep it going. We kind of call these trap games, but it's really not a trap game because they've been playing really well. But for us, 6 days off in the middle of the season is a very long time.
Did you see something?
So coming out and you expect to be a little slow. Slow starts and sloppy basketball, but you kind of find that rhythm throughout the course of the game, and that's what we did, and we were able to kind of get going.
Did you see something there in like early to mid in the fourth quarter that it was time to go for you?
Yeah, it's just like my time, kind of make plays for myself or my team, and that's what we were doing. That's what I was trying to do. Whether we missed shots or made shots, just trying to make the right play, and then defensively just talking and making sure that we gave up no 3, especially to Michael Porter, and just kind of being solid and rebounding the basketball. So, the last 4 minutes of the game is usually when I try to get the ball and just make a play.
Looking at Naji Marshall's finishing there around the bucket, I was looking at his finishing within 5 feet of the rim, and his percentage was higher than Maxey, Brunson, Gilgeous-Alexander, some of the best finishers in the NBA. And with you being a great finisher yourself, what makes Naji so great down there around the bucket?
He has great touch. He can finish with either hand, and he likes that little floater around the rim. So, when you got great touch, especially around the rim, then it makes it a lot easier to finish. So, we always on about getting downhill and getting to his little floater right there, or getting to the basket and finishing. And he's either going to make it or he's going to get fouled. So we encourage him to continue to do that.
And then with him being the knife, he's also a bit of a Swiss Army knife in the way that he can play any role. He started, he's come off the bench. What have you thought of his versatility and his ability, what he's done recently there in the starting lineup?
He's just a professional. Most guys, it kind of bothers them if, you're starting and you come off the bench, and then you start and you come off the bench, or, your minutes are limited, or you're not getting as many shots. He just do whatever the team needs him to do, whatever the coaching staff needs him to do. And, Naji's one of those guys, if, you get on him, he doesn't hang his head, he doesn't, get upset. And, he go out there and plays very hard and just try. I mean, there's times I got on him tonight about going under Michael Porter, and, he come and say, that's my bad, I'll be better. So, I love, playing with Naji. I love having him as a teammate, and he does all the intangibles for us, and it don't show on the stat sheet, but we definitely appreciate it here in the locker room.
The last time that we talked to you, it was talking about you playing the 5 and the 4, but that was before the news of Derek Lively's season-ending injury. So what have conversations been like for you since that news, and what do you see your role being here?
To play basketball. Injuries are a part of the game. Obviously, it sucks. To have a guy like that who, is a big part of our team. Both ends of the floor. We obviously want him to get healthy. Come back, even better and stronger. But my job is to continue to play. Our job is to continue to play and to figure it out until we get healthy. Just go from there. Just play basketball and try to keep stacking wins.
This team has won 5 of its last 6 games. What are some ways you feel this group has grown most during this stretch?
Defensively, I think we're talking a little bit more, but offensively, I think that's where we had our most growth. Our transition defense has gotten way better, which kind of helps when we're not giving up transition points. And then I think we're just moving the basketball and just playing free, playing for each other. No one cares who scores. We're just trying to make the right play. We're encouraging guys, even if they miss a shot, PJ missed 2 free throws, right? And then come back and make the next 2. We're encouraging him to, continue to play. And I think that's for everybody. And I think we are just accepting, winning trumps everything. And, we continue to do that, then can make a, even more around here.
Max had a pretty good game tonight, specifically on that play where he got the block and then ignited the break between Clay and PJ.
Yeah. Clown does it all. Shooting the shit out the ball, man. He's defending. We put him on Michael Porter, even when he was hot, and he kind of cut the water off. So, get to the paint, he's making the right reads. He's doing it all as well for us. So, he actually said something when he got the block too, which I like because Max don't talk a lot. So he's walking out, so y'all can't ask him. I was gonna say ask him. I'm not gonna put him out there, but he said some words and they got me a little hyped. So he's playing well for us, and I'm glad. And Max, he was a rookie, so. Starting to see him grow and kind of, come into himself and kind of get out of that shell, right? So it's good to see.
So coming off of that question, of course, you and Max, y'all been teammates for his entire career. Y'all were teammates with the Lakers. Y'all got traded here together. What would you feel like since you've seen him as a rookie all the way to now? What has been the biggest area of growth that you've seen in his game?
His confidence. He's always been able to make shots and get to the basket, defend, whatever. But it's just been a confidence thing. In and out of the lineup. Goes back to Naji's questions, right? In LA, he was in and out of the lineup a lot. He wouldn't play some games. He would start some games. He'd play 5 minutes some games, and especially as a young player coming in, it could kind of mess with your confidence. And kind of happened with him, right? The trade was definitely a shocker for him. Weighed on him a little bit, but now he's gotten that confidence and he's playing like it. So, I think his biggest, growth that I've seen from his rookie year definitely just been his confidence.
Yeah, with these last 10 months since the trade, y'all, of course, as a team have seen some up and downs, but with you and Max coming here from Los Angeles, have y'all been able to lean on each other and go through this together? What's y'all's friendship look like from being teammates for so long?
No. I'm here as far as age, he's here, career, like we're two totally different spectrums. Like, kids, man, he doesn't. We handle it in our own way. He golfs to kind of relieve stress. I don't. A little bit. Actually pretty good, to be honest. But no, I mean, we haven't really talked about it. Obviously when it first happened, when we first got here, I knew some of the guys, but he was still young, so he didn't really know anybody. So it was a smoother transition. I knew the coaches, everything like that. But he's found his guys, you know, and found his own ways where he can, you know, kind of cope with the trade. But you know, Max is really like a quiet guy. So like I said, when he got the block and said something, it was exciting for us. So you know, I'm pretty sure he got people he can talk to. But now, you know, like I said, he's getting out of that shell. He's, you know, talking more. You know, he's talking a lot in film, on the court. So I think it's kind of past him. But you know, initially, you know, when the trade first happened, it was nothing that I don't think it was nothing that I could have really said to kind of help him understand about the business. You know, especially when it was like a shocker. You know, he really didn't know what was going on or understand. And sometimes in this league, you gotta just kind of go through the journey, you know, and kind of see what it's like. And I think he came out better, you know, with the trade. He's kind of flourishing into his game, and you know, flourishing into himself. And now he's, you know, one of the top 3-point shooters in the league. So, you know, we asked a lot from him, we expect a lot from him, and you know, he's putting in the work to kind of show, you know, why he belongs.
We saw at practice Kyrie Irving dishing assists to you. I mean, you've been around the league forever.
A practice?
Yeah, there was a practice where everyone was. Yeah.
Like we were like really practicing, or I was just shooting. He was passing.
Shooting, he was passing.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So hold on, that wasn't me. That was AI.
Yeah, not cool. But you've been around the league a long time. You played with a lot of great guys. You know Kyrie Irving. What do you know about Kyrie Irving now as a teammate? I mean, all the players kind of refer to him as this player-coach role now that he's injured. What is y'all's relationship been like?
Oh, we're really close. We actually been trying to become teammates for a while. That's another story. We don't have time for that. But obviously, you know, just playing one game with each other, half a game, you know, since we've been here, is kind of tough. You know, that wasn't division, but you know, having him as a coach now, you know, he constantly texts me about stuff he sees when we're on the road. Here, he's talking to me on the bench, what he sees. He's really helping out Ryan, you know, with as a point guard. So it's good to have him around. His knowledge of the game, you know, we lean on each other, and I think he's been a big, you know, advocate for all us players to continue to be better. He's talking to Jay all the time. You know, he's out there with us doing practice from a coaching role, and you know, talking to all the players, and you know, getting involved sometimes. And he makes us think, you know, defensively, you know, when we're walking through things, because he's supposed to be, you know, ex-player on the team we're facing, and he turns to Kyrie Irving and mess up the whole practice. So, but it's good because it helps us think and get better. So. We all love it. We all love Kai, and you know, we obviously can't wait till you get back on the floor for real with us and kind of go on a deeper run.